Hi, this is Dave at Golden State Inspections, and I just got done here at 5306 Alderay Street, and overall the house is in pretty good shape. Here at the southern side, I'll show you where your main gas shutoff is at. Right down here, and then just beyond the fence is going to be your main water shutoff. I did test the pressure, and you're right within range, so that's all good. A little bit of moisture damage to some of the eaves, so we've got a barge rafter here. A very similar thing right there. A little bit more moisture damage down here. And there's a few more areas that hopefully I'll get to as we go around. And the pest guy should give you a bid to repair all of that. The roof overall is in great shape, but close to the gutter down here it does level out. And when that's the case, anywhere where two different shingles butt up against one another, water might be able to get through. So at this point it doesn't appear to have been an issue, but it really should be repaired, especially because it's only going to take you 5 or 6 minutes to have it repaired. And we don't want moisture damage to the eaves. So, and then again, you'll see the barge rafter here. So the wood there is pretty soft. I've got a minor leak here at the hose bib, so it's constantly dripping. So I'll call for repair there. But that too should be pretty easy. Sprinkler valves do work. There was one on the back that I tried to operate. It seems like water's going through the valves, but no sprayers popped up, so it could be on a drip line. So I'd start by asking the current owner if they know about that. But at the end of the day, it does look to have water supply. And then little areas like this where the flashing is coming apart, I would see if I can take care of that, because you don't want water getting in there either. A little bit more moisture damage to the post. And some of the sprinklers were hitting the house, so that could contribute to that. A little bit more moisture damage here. And I'm writing up general damage to the fence and gaps in various places. Probably a good idea to remove whatever's blocking these vents just to allow the garage to breathe a little bit better. And then I would add weather stripping at the bottom of the garage door so rodents can't get in. I'm not inspecting the shed, not inspecting this cooking equipment, so that'll be excluded. General rule of thumb is anywhere where two different building materials meet should generally have a seal, so there's a few areas like that that should get caulked. Here's a good shot of your backyard. Some more moisture damage down here to the post, so it's probably about time to replace that. And then another easy thing is I would redo the screens where necessary. There's a lot of rodent droppings on the inside and some bigger droppings, so maybe a cat. This is probably where they're getting in. There is a little bit of moisture damage to the sill plate and the rim joist in this area. So I've got pictures in the report of that for you. Same thing here. And one thing that's going to be important on this house, it's more of a maintenance item, but anywhere where water is going to pool up next to the foundation you don't want, because it can eventually migrate into the crawl space. So if you can repitch the soil a little bit better, and then if you can add extensions to each downspout, you're doing yourself a big favor. So back here are the 3 sprinkler valves that I had mentioned. These 2 operate as normal. This one, again, nothing popped up in the backyard, so it could be on a drip. So main electrical panels here. There was one breaker, 40 amp I do believe, that the wires that are going to it are not large enough to trip it if it needed to trip, which might cause overheating. I don't have any evidence that it's been overheating, but that should be an easy repair that really should get done. And then this is a Federal Pacific brand panel, and then you've got a Zinsco panel in the garage. And so both of those brands have been known to cause fires, so anytime we see it, even though we don't see anything evident of a fire, we do recommend an electrician take a look at it. So on the AC, we're just making sure that it cools at least 20 degrees. Yours was pretty quickly beyond the 20 and it continued to cool. One recommendation is that you may want to re-insulate the refrigerant line set. The copper gets really cold, and what will happen is condensation will build up and you'll get a drip. So pretty much all the insulation is missing. You'll see just a little bit right here, but the overwhelming majority of the line is not insulated. And it's especially important as it sits atop the sill plate there, because you don't want that to rot out. So anyway, that's about it for the outside. And eventually, probably a good idea to get rid of some of the dead vegetation. Looks like there were termites here and or possibly still termites. So look to the pest report on that. I think he's going to recommend having it treated. And they're probably here in part because there's a lot of dead wood at the outside. For improved fire protection, this occupant door should self-close, and it also should have a threshold at the bottom. I think this is something that a lot of homeowners would just live with, but nonetheless, I will still call for it to be repaired. And then on the termites, I'll just show you, it looks like they were coming up through the foundation wall here. So anyway, no big deal there. Another easy fix that really needs to get done, the flue for the water heater is totally disconnected. It may have happened when they were redoing the roof and just never got back to putting it back on. At the end of the day, the unit does operate, but another thing I'll recommend, this is your temperature and pressure relief valve. So if the pressure ever builds up so much in the tank that it becomes dangerous, that emergency valve kicks on and it kicks water to the outside. It doesn't look like this line here is hot water rated, so I will recommend that that get repaired, at least in that small section to where it meets the copper over here. So, and out here, just general staining. Everything up top looks to be sealed just fine. I did test a lot of this for moisture wherever I had access to, and I didn't have any moisture, although it has been dry lately, it hasn't rained. So nonetheless, keep an eye on it. Here's your Zinsco panel. Everything's wired correctly in there. And heading back inside. The neighbor did say that this was a flip, so it looks like they did a pretty good job here. I do test all the appliances except for the washer and dryer, which I don't think exists, and the refrigerator. But everything else I did test. Now, this unit here, both the microwave and the oven, when you press the buttons up top, you get nothing. So it does have power because when you open the doors, the light does turn on. So I couldn't get either of these to operate, and I'll recommend further evaluation. But everything else does work. I also take the model numbers and we'll turn them into a service that checks for recalls. So if there is a recall, they have your email and they will let you know. So anyway, moving on through here. So your furnace is in here, operates just fine. Another quick, easy thing to do, and actually, come to think of it, I've already mentioned it, the insulation for the line set. You'll notice that this portion, it is insulated, but close to where it meets the unit, it's not. So if you're gonna be re-insulating the rest, don't forget to do this portion here because you don't want it rotting out your machine. So bedrooms were pretty clean. Bathrooms were pretty clean. Probably a good idea. It's pretty minor, and again, more of a maintenance item. I would seal at the floor here, and even at the baseboard on the floor there, especially if you're not going to put a door here because shower curtains seemingly always fail to keep water in where it belongs. Your crawl space access is there. And going a little bit too fast. So up here is your attic. A little bit low on the insulation. We like to see 6 inches or more. Seemed like there's more like 4 inches in your attic. So if you come in and it's either too hot or too cold, maybe start by re-insulating. Items like this we'll just recommend re-securing. It is low voltage, and we don't inspect low voltage items. And bathroom, same thing at the bottom, just go ahead and reseal a little bit better. And then the last item off the top of my head, the water supply here was pretty low. So that's about as strong as it gets. So I'll recommend a plumber take a look at that and see if we can figure out why it's so low. But anyway, I wouldn't let any of that stuff scare you. It's all pretty common stuff. And if you have any questions or if you wanted to go over the report line by line, feel free to give me a call, and good luck with your new house. Thanks a lot.